So welcome to Metaphysics in the Bible, week 7 of 10. Our topic today is somewhere over the, and the question for the day that we just went through is, what do you think the Holy Grail is? Wow, we got some really amazing answers. Opening your third eye, the bloodlines of Christ, Christ consciousness, a film by Monty Python. It's got some comedy in there too. The woman's womb, the Holy Grail is my heart, got a lot of that. Rising the spirit. And it's to do with Jesus landing on the Mount of Olives, the agape, again, the womb. It would be the ultimate jackpot. Teachings of Jesus, a lot of great stuff here. Value others more than ourselves, being inspired. The third eye, Indiana Jones, yeah. And people are here just to find out and hear what everybody else has to say. We got a lot of great stuff. Family, inner energies, the Anna, the grandmother of Jesus. What else? And what is in our heart and raising our vibration. That's some of them. So thank you so much for sharing those. It's so awesome. There's been so many books and movies and debates over the millenniums on what the Holy Grail is. So hoping to shed some more light for you today. Someone asked about the etymology of Jerusalem being the zodiac, which I didn't have at my fingertips. So we won't go over this, but we did place it in the recording of the Metaphysics in the Bible, week 6 on YouTube. But Jerusalem is zodiac, just like Israel is the mother, you, and time, 100%. Okay, back to the Holy Grail. Do you think the Holy Grail is something that can be found or achieved? Did Da Vinci know? Here are a couple of definitions that are floating around. Let's see if this helps. And there's that book, The Holy Blood and the Holy Grail. A couple of things they mention in there. The Grail is a stone of some kind. I won't try to say those Latin words. A stone from heavens. Ooh, look at somebody from the heavens. The phoenix, resurrection or rebirth, an emblem of the dying and resurrection of Jesus. So going and coming back. So that's this person's beautiful interpretation. And then on etymology online, they say Holy Grail is sangreal, which really means royal blood. To me, the royal blood is love, royale. So today we're going to look at a different kind of a sky within a sky, right? So life after birth is going to be the topic. And for those that don't know, Gemini is the twins, right? In astrology. A sky within a sky, the harmonics of life. In other words, how everything is self-simulating. And then we're going to talk about a short story about life after birth. So let's get a little zoom in here on these beautiful babies. Aren't they precious? Look at their heads touching. Communicating, perhaps? Remember that Gemini represents the twins. And in there's the mortal one and the immortal one. The mortal one would be the ego, that thinks everything's can't be turned out. And the immortal one is the one that knows it's immortal and it's pure love and it can always come back and it's infinite. For those of you who've seen this last week or in different weeks, that's the image in the Egyptian walls of Shu holding up the sky, the firmament, the womb with the earth below. All these images are all the same. So do you think there's a difference between the sky of the womb and the sky of the earth? You can judge that one yourself. But I can tell you that in physics, you know this is true. So now let's bring in a short story. This is really, really cool, guys. In a mother's womb were two babies. One asked the other, "Do you believe in life after delivery?" The other replied, "Of course. There has to be something after delivery. Maybe we are here to prepare ourselves for what we will be later." "Nonsense," said the first. "There's no life after delivery. What kind of life would that be?" The second said, "I don't know, but there will be more light than here. Maybe we'll walk with our legs and eat with our mouths. Maybe we'll have other senses that we can't understand now." The first replied, "That's absurd. Walking is impossible and eating with our mouths, ridiculous. The umbilical cord supplies nutrition and everything we need, but the umbilical cord is so short. Life after delivery is to be logically excluded." So you can see the battle between the ego, right? The second insisted, well, I think there is something and maybe it's different than it is in here. Maybe we won't need the physical cord anymore. The first replied, nonsense. And moreover, if there is life, then why has no one ever come back from there? Delivery is the end of life. And in the after delivery, there's nothing but darkness and silence and oblivion. It takes us nowhere. Well, I don't know, said the second, but certainly we will meet Mother and she will take care of us. First replied, Mother? You actually believe in Mother? That's laughable. If Mother exists, then where is she now? The second said, she's all around us. We're surrounded by her. We are her. It is in her that we live. Without her, this world would not and could not exist. Said the first, well, I don't see her, so it's only logical that she doesn't exist. To which the second replied, sometimes when you're in silence and you focus and listen, you can perceive her presence and you can hear her loving voice calling down from above. This is a really, really good analogy of what we're upon. So that's why we got to tame our own ego. So do you have two voices inside? I do. The ego and the one that is now triumphing over the ego? Absolutely. Now let's bring in a little verse here. In the book of Joshua, chapter 24, covenant renewed. But if you are unwilling to obey the ruling goddess, remember, Lord is the etymology of Lord is ruling goddess. If you are unwilling to obey the ruling goddess, then decide today whom you will obey. Will it be the gods of your ancestors beyond the Euphrates or the gods of the Amorites here in this land? That is for me and my family, we will serve the ruling goddess. It's time to prepare. Let's put our little baby hat on. What if we are in the preparation for Passover, like right now? Passover meaning something different, not like we know. In other words, we're just shifting our consciousness. What if we're there right now? We have to admit it is a new now. You can see people raising their consciousness. One we have never thought of that would be upon us, nor possible. So think about that. You can ponder on that. Okay, so let's ask these questions to ourselves. Is resurrection in the Bible? I think so, yeah. Is there a resurrection in a heartbeat? Absolutely, right? It stops and starts. Every heartbeat, it's resurrecting. Is there resurrection in a breath? Absolutely. Doesn't our lungs stop and then restart? Is there a resurrection in day and night cycle? Absolutely. We go to sleep, don't we? Does the moon resurrect every month? Absolutely. It waxes and wanes. It goes from light to dark. So we're going to have a closer look at how the Holy Grail and resurrection play hand in hand. First, let's look in the Bible to see if there is any life after birth. When you go to the Bible and you look up the word die, look how many times it's in the Bible. No wonder we're feeling like the way we do with this mistranslated Bible. Over almost every Bible I checked, there's over 500 times the word die. Meanwhile, I know from my heart, bottom of my heart, from all the tests I've done and all the learnings I've done, we are not that which dies. Do we change? Sure. Do we go through metamorphosis? But we don't die. Absolutely not. So that's crazy, over 500 times. So now look, we're going to save this for another time, but look at the top most used words in the Bible. Lord, well, we know that's ruling goddess. God, well, that's you. As you achieve your Christ consciousness, you are a God, you're a manifester, you're a creator. And then man, Israel is the mother, you in time. And then the people that didn't make it to Passover. But that's of the past, because I think in the age of Aquarius, everybody pretty much does.
Yeah.
So you guys remember this slide, right? Some of you do, or some of you don't. This slide proves that the story of dying on the cross is a cycle in the heavens. When Jesus died on the cross, that's our consciousness taking a shift. That's all that is. It happens in the sky. When you go look up the Indian calendar, when they started their calendar, it's not a start. There's no start or end. They just remember specific beautiful dates and catalog them and start counting again so they know when mama comes back home. That's what it is. So it's a good thing that we know that the Bible meant it was a cycle. Somehow we managed to mess that up in the translations, but the breadcrumbs are still there. That's how we are able to find these, because guess who leaves those breadcrumbs? That one that we're inside the womb all the way around us, she's always feeding us. She has to. It's just a little bit less in the Piscean age while we get this experience.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we're going to look for the word resurrection in the Bible. Well, resurrection means we don't die, right? We resurrect. Well, there's not a whole lot in the Bible on the word resurrection. Rise? Oh, there's a lot more for rise. But let's look up what the word in etymology online for the word resurrect. To raise from the dead or the grave, reanimate. I stopped right there. Because anima means the soul. So re-anima, re-soul, your soul is re-embodied. You come back. Should you choose to come back. But if you want to pass the Passover and not want to come back, then it's totally up to you. But it's got to be loving, because you can't exist without love. Okay, we're going to look at the word bread now. Look how many times the word bread is in the Bible. And the reason why I picked the word bread is because of leavened. The word leavened. Leavened means whether bread rises or not. So there's not very many verses on it, but it's in there, where they talk about those that miss Passover aren't leavened bread. They didn't rise. That bread didn't rise. The Christ consciousness in them didn't rise. So it is a personal journey. We can rise, and the way to rise it is with love. I did look up the word banana just for fun. What's the top fruit that are in Egypt? And banana was one of them. So I looked banana. Of course, fig is in there. Fig's in a long time, a lot of them are, but banana wasn't. So I was trying to be funny. The Bible didn't mean the bread to mean the bread. It didn't mean, it was symbolic. People took it literally, what's on the Egyptian walls. So I know the Bible's not a recipe book. So let's look at the book of Luke, chapter 22, the preparation of Passover. And the day of unleavened bread came, on which Passover must be sacrificed. So in other words, you're missing the opportunity to raise your Christ consciousness. And then I threw this in there from, these were the two founders of Unity, Myrtle and Charles Fillmore. I just found this on Sunday when I went for orientation. This is so awesome. So it was a beautiful synchronicity. And it makes you say, okay, I was guided there for a reason. Leaven, the law of increase observable throughout the entire creation, is represented by leaven, unleavened bread, the coming of a time when sincerity and truth shall form the mainspring of our life. Passover. The Passover is a symbol of our passing from sense to spiritual consciousness, a phoenix rising in my words. It is therefore consistent with the giving up of pretense and duplicity for the sake of sincerity and truth. All those Babel words, okay, I mean, there are a lot of Babel words, but at the end of the day, it is all about, guys, girls, folks, it is about raising our Christ consciousness. A lot of the words that are in there are misleading, not intentionally, just happens. So I'm merely just showing you the misinterpretations will still leave a path back to the truth. Always, it's the breadcrumbs, the divine feminine within, or in case of the twins, the divine feminine without, is leaving for us. So it's a beautiful thing. So let's look at, is it happening in the sky? Some of you have seen this before. On April 15th, 2023, this is when the Christ consciousness raises. Of course, it raises in a long period, but there's the peak. We've been doing this. There's the mother, Eris. You, the sun, with the moon at her feet. That's Revelation 12:1. Now a great sign appeared in the heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet. That's Revelation 12:1. It happens in the sky. Exactly 558 years, or 203,813 days, and the math in there is impeccable. The way the stars and everything rotate is all based on the mother, on mama coming home. This is what's happening. This is the Easter of all Easters. This is the Passover that we're supposed to be preparing for, that we're supposed to raise our Christ consciousness. So I keep asking myself, am I getting ready? Am I getting ready? if you're a gambling person, you're not, maybe, I don't know if this is really real or not, but you only have to win to do this. It doesn't cost you anything. You got to be loving. And if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it's still a good time, wasn't it? But it's happening in the sky. You can trust me. It's happening in the sky. So you know about the 42 spiritual laws, the weighing of the heart ceremony, right? Those are the tools to prepare for Passover. So I just threw this in there just for effect, with a loaf of bread rising, because that loaf of bread rises every 558 years. That exact same alignment happens in the sky. We are infinite. We've just been through an experience. Time to be loving, get ready for the Passover. And we are. So again, I don't know, we know why the bread's in the Bible so many times, and it's not a bakery book. It's not a bakery book. It's a beautiful thing though. So recap. Do you think the Holy Grail has been found? Is it now possible to remember her return? Are we going to meet the mother? The one that surrounds us and we're in her womb? If our foremothers and forefathers knew, would it be in prophecy? I mean, if this has happened every 558 years, we must have left that message somewhere, right? We had to have. And it is. I just showed you 2 slides of it. Happens in the sky. And if it weren't for the Egyptian walls, I never would have figured it out. I should say we would have never figured it out. So would it have been predictable? Would this have been predictable? Yeah. We predicted it. On May 15th, 2019, we said, hey guys, at that time we didn't know it was exactly 558, but we knew that Eris was coming into Aries, arise, our conscious arising. And that was going to happen starting in January of 2020. And we're telling you, you're going to feel like this and you're ready for this. And then all these different faces down there of all the different things that were happening around that time. So this was May 15th, 2019. Pre-corona virus, the cleansing process. No such thing as a virus, folks. It's a process. How did we know that we're going through a corona chakra cleanse? We also published a video on YouTube on December the 2nd. It's still there. We didn't make it up. You can't go, I didn't call up Facebook, hey, can you back time date this for me? No, it's all there. It's all there. It is predictable. Why is it predictable? Because it's an exact cycle. We are infinite. So judge yourself this question. Is there life after rebirth? Is the process of revelation of the return of the Holy Grail real? Do you allow the breadcrumbs of her return? Are you getting ready for Passover, the true Easter of April next year? Is your heart as light as a feather? You are infinite. The tools for success are deep within you, and it's called love. And that's all I have for today.